New week in the markets, time for another weekly outlook. Please keep in mind it's the end of the year, so markets are starting to slow, but they're not fully dead, so come December is when I think liquidity will slowly start to thin out. I just checked the Upside's calendar and today is a GBP bank holiday. This means London session is going to lose volume and there's going to be slower movement on GBP pairs. Considering we're trying to keep the odds in our favour, all my GBP traders, please be cautious. Tuesday, dense news lineup for the USD. A lot of PPI and retail sales, so I'm going to be staying out of the markets on Tuesday. Wednesday's unemployment claims, which is typically very high impact. And because the markets are starting to thin, those reactions are over-exaggerated. Thursday is a USD bank holiday. So very low volume, just not worth it at this point in the year. So really Friday is our main day to capitalize. However, let's move over to the pairs. First of all, XAU USD. The back half of last week ended up being a lot of consolidation and not much movement at all. However, if you've been keeping up with my previous videos, gold perfectly fit that market psychology chart I showed, filling all those gaps and furthering to the downside. And looking at the 4-hour charts, given these strong rejections off of these price gaps and fair value gaps, I think if it's not for any external factors on gold, we'll continue in a small downtrend. So I'm going to be waiting for a clean continuation leg, and unfortunately the best setups are likely to happen post Wednesday data. Now GBP JPY, we read this one like a book last week. Price printed new highs exactly as predicted. However, now 4-hour structure has broken to the downside with a fair value gap / price gap / displacement, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be a key zone that I'm looking at this week because whether that gets broken through or respected is going to determine my buys for the week. So I'm just going to be waiting until I see a reaction there. But other than that, this is a time when we can't force anything this late into the year. It sucks if you haven't met your goals, if you haven't achieved something you wanted to achieve, but you have to accept that this late into the year, you're going to find less setups and you're going to want to overtrade. So try not to do that, and happy trading.